I think the best thing to do is tell me specifically what you're talking about, and then I can address it.
What have you done to ensure that HUD is properly handling these unprecedented conflicts of interest?
Again, if you can tell me what the specific thing is, I can address it.
They tried to bait him. They tried to scream over him. But they forgot one thing. Dr. Ben Carson is a brain surgeon. He doesn't flinch. Today, we're looking at the moment Maxine Waters tried to turn a congressional hearing into a circus, only to be dismantled by pure logic. If you're tired of the shouting and ready for some common sense, you're in the right place. We're going to look at 3 specific moments where the Democrats tried to trap him. First, the Puerto Rico trap. Second, the personal attacks on the president's properties. And finally, the moment Carson dropped a truth bomb about government spending that every patriot needs to hear. Let's get into the footage.
This morning, Trump threatened to abandon Puerto Rico recovery efforts. President Trump served notice Thursday that he may pull back federal relief workers from Puerto Rico, effectively threatening to abandon the U.S. territory amid a staggering humanitarian crisis in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. In a trio of tweets, he wrote, "We cannot keep FEMA, the military, and the first responders who have been amazing in Puerto Rico forever." On Thursday, he sought to shame the territory for its own plight. He tweeted, "Electric and all infrastructure was disaster before hurricanes." So you talked about what you, HUD, is doing in cooperation with, I guess, the administration. Do you agree with the president?
I certainly agree that Puerto Rico is a very important territory. The people from Puerto Rico have contributed greatly to the culture of America.
Well, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is these tweets where the president threatened to abandon Puerto Rico recovery efforts. Do you agree that they should be abandoned, that Puerto Rico should be abandoned?
Well, first of all, as I was saying, Puerto Rico is a very important part of our culture.
No, I know it's important, but I want to know whether or not you agree with the president who's threatening to abandon Puerto Rico recovery efforts.
I think I just said I have no intention of abandoning Puerto Rico. They're a very important part of who we are.
So you don't agree with the president? He tweeted, "Electric and all infrastructure was a disaster before the hurricanes," and sought to shame the territory for its own plight. Do you share that opinion?
I think that our job is to make sure that we take care of the disaster that has occurred.
So you don't agree that it should be abandoned, is that right?
Of course it should not be abandoned.
And you don't think that they should be shamed for its own plight, is that right?
There is no question that there have been a lot of difficulties in Puerto Rico. They ended up.
Should they be shamed for its own plight?
In debt. I don't think it is beneficial to go around shaming people in general.
Okay, so I'm glad to hear you don't agree with the president. I have serious concerns about the potential conflicts of interest with regard to HUD funds that are contributing to the profits of multifamily developments owned in part by the president and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Do you think it's appropriate that the president and his family are profiting from federal government funding intended to support low-income families?
If you can give me a specific example, I can address that question.
Well, I want to know if you think it's appropriate that the president and his family are profiting from any federal government funding intended to support low-income families.
I don't think it's appropriate for public officials in general to do that.
Okay. Do you stand by the president's decision not to divest himself of his interest in properties that receive HUD funding?
I think the best thing to do is tell me specifically what you're talking about, and then I can address it.
What have you done to ensure that HUD is properly handling these unprecedented conflicts of interest?
Again, if you can tell me what the specific thing is, I can address it.
These properties that are owned in part by the president or Mr. Kushner are also reportedly in very bad condition. You know Starrett City, don't you?
Yes, I know of it.
for example, which is part owned by the president. You know that, don't you?
I do know that he has
And
a
you know it
small
has
part
received
ownership of
increasingly
that.
declining HUD inspection scores. You know that too, don't you?
Do I know what now?
That it has increasingly declining HUD inspection scores.
I know that there are problems there, yes.
But specifically, do you know that Starrett is a problem, that they have received increasingly declining HUD inspection scores? Do you know that?
I know what is necessary to know as the Secretary of HUD regarding that. Do I know all the numbers about Sarah?
No, I don't want you to know all the numbers. All I want you to know is about Starrett. Starrett, everybody kind of knows a lot about Starrett, and it's partially owned by the president. You are the HUD secretary, and you're in a conflict of interest situation. And I just want to make sure you understand what you are overseeing. Do you know that they have declining HUD inspection scores?
I know that they've been having difficulty.
Okay, so you know that they have not passed inspection. What are you doing to ensure that these HUD residents are not suffering as a result of poor management and lack of investment by its profit-motivated owners?
Well, of course, we oversee the PHAs that are involved with that and work with them, as we do with the ones all around the country.
We've learned that the owners of Starrett City, the biggest project-based Section 8 contract in the country, of which Trump is part owner, are planning to sell the property. This sale is already rife with controversy as infighting between the ownership is playing out in public. To date, we have no knowledge of how HUD approves the transfer of Section 8 contracts when a property is not FHA insured or HUD held as Starrett City is, because HUD has not published its process. HUD has the ability here to insist upon things like robust tenant protections and longer affordability requirements, but the process is frankly unknown. Have you gotten involved with this? It's a big issue.
We have a very well-formulated group that deals with these kinds of issues, and they will deal with this one in the same way that they deal with all such issues. There won't be anything that's done differently here than has been done.
They have not kept you appraised of what they're doing?
Excuse me?
Are you satisfied with the progress that they're making?
They will handle this as they have handled all things.
So you don't know. They have not kept you appraised. You don't know whether or not the process is working. So I would like a full accounting of the process that your department is planning to employ, including all decision points and who will make them should this process move forward. And so I want you to commit to that because, again, this is a big project that's owned partially by the President of the United States, and I want to know how this sale is going to work, what kind of protection these tenants are going to have, and you should keep yourself appraised of it because I'm going to want to know, as others will want to know, how it is progressing.
We'll be happy to work with you and your staff to disseminate that information.
Time.
There's one thing that stands out in my mind based on the campaign and looking at what happened in the primaries and things that the president said and how he talked to you and others and demeaned you so much. But one of the things that stands out in my mind so vividly is how he mocked and mimicked a disabled journalist. And so you have, let's say, he has openly mocked disabled people, and HUD's most recent budget proposal, which you supported and defended, proposes a steep 18% cut for Section 811 program, which is focused on serving low-income persons with disabilities, as well as harmful rent increases on Section 811 residents. This is very concerning in light of the critical role that HUD plays in providing housing assistance for low-income persons with disabilities, as well as enforcing the Fair Housing Act, which protects persons with disabilities against discrimination in the housing market. Do you remember seeing that display by the president where he mocked and mimicked disabled journalists? Do you remember seeing the site of that?
I remember seeing the episode that you're referring to.
Do you think it was wrong for the president to send that kind of message about what he cares about disabled people?
Well, I'm not really here to talk about the president. I really want to talk about the people that we're trying to help.
Well, yes, I want to talk about the people too. Right now, I want to talk about the disabled people. And I want to know if his attitude is such that it is reflected in this budget, and you defend the budget, and are you defending in any shape, form, or fashion the fact that the person who wanted to be the president of the United States of America for all people would treat disabled people that way? What do you think about that?
As a pediatric neurosurgeon, a large portion of my patients were disabled people.
All right, so you do care about disabled people, is that right?
Of course.
When you're in front of disabled people who are advocating for resources to help with their lives, and they ask you about the president and the fact that he mocked and mimicked disabled journalists during the campaign, and they ask you, do you defend the president in doing that? What did you say to them?
I would say that I'm going to use the resources and the talents that we have to look out for the interest of the disabled people. We're going to commit to making sure that
So do
they
you
are not
think the cut
displaced.
of $121 million is a demonstration of your support for the disabled? Section 811 housings for persons who are disabled?
I would say it's not the amount of money, it's the result that you get that's
I
important.
beg your pardon, I can't hear you.
I would say it's not the amount of money, but rather the result that you achieve that's important.
Carson proved today that leadership isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's about who has the best results. The Democrats want to talk about tweets. Carson wants to talk about the American people. If you want to see more breakdowns like this and stay informed with the facts that actually matter, make sure you join our community by hitting that subscribe button. We are building a home for patriots who value logic over noise, and we'd love to have you with us. Thanks for watching, and stay frosty.